Hello, fiber friends. At any second, the timer's going off and I'll have to get cookies out of the oven. But did you know that I'm actually wearing this same outfit 2 days in a row? Oh dear. I mean, I did threaten that because I love this sweater so much, but no, actually, day 9 was this morning when I filmed it, recorded it. There's no film in the camera. I guess I'm just old. And then day 10, welcome to day 10, I will be uploading in the morning. I'm sharing these things with you so that you know I'm doing what I need to do to keep things going without too much stress. And so why am I doing 2 in the same day? Because I took yesterday off and I got up early to do day 9, and then life happened and it got uploaded late. Now I'm doing day 10 before Mark gets home from work, because when he gets home, we are going to do the Christmas decorating. We haven't done that yet. This is the first night that like everybody can be here to do that together. So I had to make cookies. So welcome to Vlogmas day 10. Excellent timing. Oh, they smell really good. They're just like regular chocolate chip with Christmas sprinkles on them, but they smell really good. Okay, friends, the pillow I was telling you I was gonna work on, I haven't done that yet because I haven't had time. So we're just gonna move on to other things I want to get done. But these are things that are very quick, like 5 minutes to finish, and they've just been sitting there all year. I can't believe it. So let's start with the blessing, and then we'll open an Advent, and then I'll show you the other stuff that I need to get done, want to get done. It doesn't need to get done. I mean, technically, I'm fine. I have sweaters to wear. I have clothes to wear. I don't need to do these things. I want to do these things. I say it that way so that I don't feel like some kind of weird pressure to get things done that stresses me out. I'm doing this because I'm having fun doing it, and I'm having a lot of fun sharing it with all of you. It seems like on YouTube, everybody's always pushing for like showing a new thing. And you're a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful audience because you're always so supportive of just being like, show us bits and pieces. We understand it takes a long time. And I appreciate that so much. But there's still somehow that pressure as a YouTuber to always show something else, something new. And I think, this is my theory, I'm not technically a knitting podcaster, but I do watch knitting podcasts, and I know some people, I talk to them behind the scenes, if you will, fellow YouTubers. And I think that the drive to always have something new is a desire to put new keywords in the algorithm so that it pushes out to a broader audience, because every time you upload something new, there's more of a chance to reach new people. But if something says part 2, part 3, then generally people aren't going to just click on that if they're a new subscriber, or a new person who's never watched you. They'll be like, oh, I'm not part of that journey. They're already on part 3 and I don't know what's going on. I'm not going to click on that. And so you limit yourself in terms of how new people, in terms of discovery, I should say. And I mean, that's just how it is. And then, so there's that. But then if you're always putting out something new and you always need to have like new keywords or different things or whatever in the title so that people find you from searching in more different ways, that's why I think people get too focused on what trending patterns are happening and like the top designers, because when you can put those names in there, you catch on with all of the search results of that pattern, of that designer, which really then starts to manipulate people into all doing the same thing. And when you can't get a sweater done in a week, I mean, really, who has a brand new sweater that they knit to show every week? What are you going to show that's new? Well, then we start leaning into hauls and look what I bought and all of that. And I think that's how we end up with people who are, and this isn't about anyone specific, but that generally is what I'm saying. Generally, that's how you end up with people who are all knitting the same thing and showing new supplies and new yarn, and end up with giant yarn stashes. And it kind of all gets to be very repetitive and very much the same, because if anyone is studying their analytics and looking at trends and keywords, all the same keywords come up for everyone. So that's a little behind the scenes. I don't know why I got into that, but now you know. If you are a knitting podcaster or want to be weird. Be weird. The only way that we're gonna survive this, I don't know what this is, this like, what are we calling it even? I don't even know. This like post-generative AI world where it exists now and there's no putting the horse back in the barn. I almost said cage. But that's the point. Be weird. Be ungovernable. That's how we'll survive. Do what your heart desires. I think more and more what people are looking for is just authenticity, and it needs to feel human. And if you curate yourself for an algorithm rather than for the people in your community, in your audience, that's your community, then that's not authentic. You're going to lose people. We all need to be weird. We need to be ungovernable by algorithms, and we need to be weird. That's how people are going to know that we're people, that we're human. So, what are we up to today? Let's do a fiber blessing. I have a typo. See how human I am? Okay, so day 10. May your hands rest when they need to and work with delight when they don't. And I was like, do I need rest? I do. That was yesterday. And so then today I was like, should I take a break? And then I thought, no, because I'm not pushing to finish something. I'm still delighting in making these videos and hanging out with all of you. And this is such a highlight for my time of the year. And I'm having fun. So let's keep going. But if you do need rest for something, please take a rest. If your hands hurt, take a break. You know, don't hurt yourself to get things finished for a specific holiday or whatever, if that's what you're trying to do. I know someone out there needs to hear that. It's okay to take care of yourself. This morning I went to the store because I had to get, or was it the afternoon? I don't know. Today I went to the store and I got, among other things, I got some RIT dye. The color is eggplant. It is all-purpose dye. It dyes cotton, linen, rayon, silk, wool, and nylon. I've just been sitting here reading the directions. We recently did a project with RIT dye. One of my kids wanted Converse that didn't currently have the color that they needed because it is the color of their soul. And so we had to dye a pair of Converse orange, and it was fun. And we did it in the washing machine, and it was really easy. And they went kaboom, kaboom, kaboom for like an hour. That was great. Anyway, I think I'm going to do this in the washing machine, but I need to look up and make sure I'm doing everything right because I am going to be dyeing linen. And linen's a little trickier than wool. I know I need salt, and I think this says it'll be better if I use the fixative, the RIT fixative. So I'm going to look that up and see what that is because I might have whatever that is because I have so much stuff. And here's what I'm going to be dyeing. And it's linen, so it's a little heavy. I don't know. I might need to go get another bottle. All right. This apron. Everyone loves my aprons. I actually have two of them. This is the other one. I know which one is my current one because it has the pins on it. And then if I get something on it because it has the pins on it, and then if I get something on it or whatever, then I take the pins off and wash it, and then I use the next one. Here's the thing though, when I'm recording, sometimes this is just turning into like a little behind the scenes thing, isn't it? So sometimes when I'm recording, depending on what yarn I'm spinning, what fiber I'm spinning, it blends into my apron so much that, for one, the camera has trouble focusing on the yarn because it can't distinguish it from the background, which it matches so well. And then it's also just generally it's hard to see. And I want, if it's a tutorial especially, I want people to see what's going on. That's the point. And I kept thinking, there have been times when I've wanted to go get something darker to wear, or, like move my apron over so you see whatever it is against my jeans. This is especially true when I'm spinning linen. It's hard to see flax against naturally colored flax. So I'm going to dye this eggplant, and then I'll have one that'll show dark colored yarn really well, and then I'll have one that will show light colored yarn very well. And it'll be kind of purple, and I'm just really into that. What else do I have here? I don't know if anyone remembers the embroidery episode. I have this, it's like a shirt dress. It's also linen. I think it's a linen, is it linen rayon or is it linen? I don't know. It's either linen rayon or linen cotton. It's linen rayon, that's what it felt like to me. So this should be able to dye with the RIT. And because it has these pockets and stuff, I was gonna do a little embroidery on it. I might do embroidery on the back. I don't know. Tell me what you think. But I also have some little patches. They're kind of like Halloween-y patches that I got when it was Halloween-y time. And so I might put those on the pockets instead of embroidery. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but I do know that I would look better in an eggplant shirt dress than this natural color shirt dress. Even though it's summer weight clothing, this is all summer stuff. We've already recently gone through the winter stuff. Okay, and then I got these. This is all thrifted, by the way, also. You can find thrifted linen. You just have to really look for it. What you do is you train your hand, and then you can just kind of feel things as you go, and then you'll be like, oh, that's linen. It works. Okay, so this one, it's got to be on here somewhere. There it is. This one is 55% linen, 45% rayon. So rayon's complicated. Isn't everything complicated? But it's at least going to biodegrade with the linen. Whereas like a wool acrylic blend can't do that because of the acrylic. So anyway, I don't think there's a lot of like linen acrylic blends. There's linen cotton. Cotolin is the historic term for that. Anyway, these pants are from Gap, I think. Yep, Gap. It's called Easy Pant. Here's the problem. These are so comfortable. They work for, an adjusting waistline. Here's the problem. The problem is the color, because especially if I wear anything that's any shade darker than this, and you look at me from a distance, it looks like I'm not wearing pants, if you know what I mean. I think these should be eggplant, and then I'll wear them with so many things, because as they are, it's just not the right color. Yeah. So, and then I have a couple white linen shirts. I get them because I get excited. I'm like, oh, it's linen, but there's so many that I keep finding them, and I need to just stop. Each one is a different style, so at least there's that. And I tend to wear them under things, especially like strappy dresses that are cute, that I like the flowers on them, and then I'll wear it over a white shirt. So I thought, you know what if I took one of these white linen shirts that I have, and I made it eggplant, which I think is a great idea. This one depends on which light I'm looking at it in, but it has a little bit, I don't know, maybe I did get it out. When I got it from the thrift store, it had a little, it had clearly been worn and it had some sweat kind of yellowing on the back of the neck. So I think this is a good candidate to dye anyway. And then, because it has this type of collar, and I'm just absolutely thrilled with my little crochet lace on this one. This collar here, I thought would be perfect to do like some little flower embroidery or something along there. I thought that would be super cute to kind of spruce that up. So anyway, that's my pile of things to dye. And it's a really easy, other than the bit of research I need to do to figure out the fixative issue and then how many bottles of RIT it's going to take. Other than that, it's a pretty painless process to dye stuff with RIT. The reason it can dye so many different fibers is because it has all the stuff in it to dye all the different fibers. Generally, when I dye wool, I use acid dyes, which would not work for linen. I would need fiber reactive dyes to dye the linen, but RIT basically has both things so that it can dye any fiber that you put in there. So I don't love RIT because I always feel like I'm wasting half the dye because this is all rayon and linen, so it's all cellulose based. So it's just going to take the cellulose dyeing part out of the dye, and then the rest is just going to, you have to rinse it till it's clear. There's no like when you dye wool and you can make sure it took up all the dye because the water becomes clear and you don't see the dye anymore because it all struck is what we call it. It's bonded with every part of the wool it can bond with, and it uses up every bit of the pigment out of the water. Yeah, so that will not happen with RIT unless you're dyeing a protein fiber and a cellulose fiber in the right proportions to have the dye strike on everything. And even then, I'm not sure if it is going to take all the dye. It's just the nature of it. So this is an appropriate use for RIT, I think. Anyway, people ask like, how does RIT dye all the things? That's how, because they put all the dye things in one bottle. But for people who are just doing a project to spruce up their wardrobe and make something more wearable for them, it's great. They don't want to learn chemistry. They just want to maintain their closet. So I think it's a good thing, and it's very accessible. The next thing is something I need a little help with. I got Mark this mug one year for Christmas, and it has space cats, and he loves this mug. There's the other cat. My lights are very shiny on this mug. Anyway, obviously you can see the handle broke. So we're gonna glue the handle. He was so sad. He was so sad. We're gonna glue the handle back on. It's probably gonna fix it. But he was like, I want another mug for Christmas. Like that's all he wants. So I can't really, it's just not in the budget this year to do actual like pottery. So I got this at the store, and I want to see if I can color on it with paint pens. So if anybody does pottery and knows if I can color on this with paint pens, please let me know. This is mass produced. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is Faltzgraf, and it can go in the washing machine, it can go in the microwave, but no one in this household is above hand washing if it needs to be kept that way for the paint pen to work. But I don't know, I don't know if I want to do a cat this year because we did lose our 20-year-old Minuet this year, and it was really, really hard. I still cry sometimes. Another behind the scenes thing, sometimes when I'm editing old footage, she would be over there, like up over on that part of the house meowing, which is behind the camera. So when I'm editing and I'm looking at myself on the camera, you know, the camera would be like this and it picks it up in that way. So it sounds like she's meowing behind me. And it gets me every time because I'm never expecting it. And it's like there's a little bit of her just poking into my day saying hi. Anyway, It's hard. Loss is hard. And we had her for 20 years. She was such a good cat. So I don't think I'm going to do cats this year for Mark. I think it's just going to make us all cry. But I need to put something else on here, or some design or something. I don't know. But if anyone could let me know if paint pens would work on this, that would be awesome, because I don't want to put it on there and then have them wash it and it all comes off immediately. And guess what else I finished? If anyone remembers, this is my stocking. So everyone always asks about my name. I go by Evie. Everyone calls me Evie instead of Eva, but the J is for Jillian, because Jillian is my middle name. So it's like all my name. So Jillian Eve, like Evie, get it? I spun my name. So yeah, my grandmother made everyone's stockings, personalized stockings. Last year, you all helped me find the pattern, the vintage pattern for this stocking, so that I could make one for Mark. And here it is. And it looks so good. And this is hand spun Angora, so that they both have, which is what the pattern called for, so that they both have fuzzy beards. The only thing left to do for this one is put a bell on the stocking cap. And I know that it's gonna match as soon as it has. We always put an orange and nuts in the toe, foot. And then usually it's like chocolate and chapstick, maybe a fancy soap. It's toiletries, nuts, and oranges. That's basically our stockings. It's good. It's delicious. I love getting chocolates in my stocking. I look forward to that every year. And yeah, anyway, when all that's in here, it's going to stretch, and then I think it'll be fine. But I might just give it like a wet towel over the top, kind of a press. It is acrylic yarn. I wanted to use acrylic because with this stored away, sometimes like in the garage, I'm just worried about moths. And mine has lasted forever and an age and a day. And so I want this one to last too. And it's cute and it's fun, and I got it done, and I'm very proud of myself for getting it done. There's the stockings in the back. My tension was terrible. I'm not going to show you the inside of this stocking, but I will say nothing's going to get stuck or caught in there. But my tension was terrible. And Tarja's hard. I got partway through and I started thinking, oh my gosh, what have I done? I should have just done the entire thing green and then duplicate stitched Santa on top. But it was too late for that, and I finished it and I did the color work. And the back is a mess. But I learned a lot of things, and there's no holes between colors. So that's all that matters. All right, it's time for Advent boxes. Both companies sent me these boxes. The links are in the description if you'd like to check them out. We are opening Twice Sheared Sheep every day because it has 25, and we're opening the Hedgehog Fibers every other day because it has fiber, and it's 12 days of spin, and so we're doing that every other day, and that will make 12 by the end. So let's see what Twice Sheared Sheep has for us today. Let's see. It is day 10, isn't it? We are in the double digits. It's a flat little box. Let's see what's in it. It looks like yarn bobbins. These are cute. They're ruby slippers. Check it out. They're so sparkly. I was just thinking this would have been great for all of that in Tarja because I used a bajillion bobbins for doing that. So if I do more stockings for the kids, then I've got some yarn bobbins. Let's do a little spinning. I want to say a couple things real quick. This is what I'm spinning right now, this color, and this is merino and alpaca. And I have been spinning from the fold. The other blends had a combination of long fibers and short fibers. This technically would be a better choice to spin from the fold. However, because both fibers are long fibers, I'm thinking that I might do this one a little bit more worsted, like a little bit more, not from the fold, a little bit more point of contact. So what that means is that I'm letting some twist into the fiber supply so that the twist acts like my fingers to pull some of the fibers out of the fiber supply, but I'm not letting so much twist in that it all gets twist locked, meaning that there's too much twist that it can't draft apart, it can't slide apart. So I feel like that would work better for these fibers. So to do that, rather than taking stable lengths and putting it over my finger, I am just gonna fluff it up so everything is loose. It's a little compacted. It's not felted at all. It's just a little compacted, which of course can happen anytime you're shipping things and moving things around. So I'm just perking it up a little. You can do this with steam too, and it can make a world of difference. So if this is annoying, I might go steam it. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think it needs to be steamed, but look at the difference. See? So let's go ahead and do a little spinning, and I'm going to spin directly from the comb top. You know what? This one likes a short forward. I'm just going to do a short forward. Okay, let's put the microphone in place. So this is not a point of contact because I'm not letting the twist into the fiber. I'm just drafting it out and sliding my fingers back. So yeah, I'm going to do a little short forward, I think. All right, let me put the microphone where you can get some noises and I'll stop talking and we'll do a little spinning. I knew the cookies were up there and they were just calling to me and I had to go get a cookie. It's not bad. It tastes like a cookie. Well, friends, thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this little tidbits of behind the scenes. Someone said I reminded them of Miss Frizzle, and I wanted to say that is like the highest honor. You know how, like, at the beginning of Magic School Bus, she's always like, "Seat belts, everyone!" I should start out my videos, be like, "Hi, fiber friends," and then I can be like, "Spindles, everyone!" I think that'd be great. All right, friends, happy spinning and merry Vlogmas. Spindles, everyone!